Hey, hey, hey.
Hey, first episode.
First episode of Baby of the Babies.
Triplet Talk.
Triplet Talk. All right. So I think we're going to start off with kind of explaining a little bit of what this podcast is.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So obviously you can tell by the title, we're going to be talking about triplets.
Obviously.
Specifically our triplets.
Yes.
We don't know too much about other people's triplets.
No. A little bit, but no.
A little bit. So we're kind of be sharing our stories, but we're kind of doing it a little bit differently. So instead of just us kind of in this format, what we've also done is we figured triple the babies, triple the content.
Yeah, why not?
So what we've done is each episode we're going to have a topic, and within that topic, we're going to individually record ourselves talking about that topic. That way you get the father's perspective as well as the mother's perspective on a topic. And then we'll come together and kind of listen to each other's topics and kind of dive a little bit more.
Yeah.
I think.
Talk about, different things we touched on that we were like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot about that. Or, wow, I never thought about that aspect. Or just different things that, when you're going through something yourself as an individual. And I feel like we miss moments. We don't discuss things together as much as we think we do. Mm-hmm. I think it helps to kind of, almost get it all out personally yourself, kind of dive into these topics, individually, and then coming together kind of it's a good, summary. It's a good way to kind of get everything out in the open and talk about things that you forgot like forever ago, and they're not.
Exactly. So let's start. Let's start with your perspective.
All right, here we go. We're going to be talking about when we first found out we were having triplets, which was surreal to say the least. But, I woke up that morning and, you're anxious and you're excited and everything. And I couldn't eat. I couldn't really think about anything. And I knew something was off, and I feel like everybody would say something like that. But I just was like, I don't know, like I'm just super anxious for some reason. And, we're driving there and we're just kind of making small talk, but we're kind of not. And, we go through everything. We're talking with the doctors. We're getting all the blood work. And, we're kind of just like, okay, whatever. Vince and I were kind of like, we're ready for like the ultrasound. That's like the grand finale. That's like, it's our first ultrasound we've ever had. We've been trying to have kids for a while now, and we're just like over the moon excited about it. So, I remember walking to the ultrasound room and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I just couldn't believe that we were in that moment together. And so, I'm laying on the table and they put that like cold, they say it's warm, it's never warm, cold jelly all over you, and you're kind of like, okay. And, you're looking at the screen, you're like, okay, cool, like this is going to be great. It's just like the movies, and you kind of just hear that whoa, 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 like the heartbeat sound. And I kind of remember looking at the ceiling for a second, and the the ultrasound tech, she kind of looks over and she goes, huh. And, my heart just kind of was, I was like, wait, what? In my brain, I didn't say it out loud, but I kind of was like, what the heck? What does that mean? And I could tell Vince was pretty nervous too. But she kind of does this weird noise, and then she's not really saying anything for a little bit. So I'm waiting there like, oh gosh, what's going on? And she goes, well, I hear 3 heartbeats. And I kind of heard that noise when, I don't know what it's called. It's that super high pitch, like noise that they play in the movies. Like when you get in a car accident, you can't hear anything. I kind of was, it almost didn't feel like real life, I think. I kind of was laying there like just, I was, right now, I'm still in shock. They're 9 months old and I'm still in shock, but I just remember laying there and just going like, what do I even say? What do I like? What's the right thing? I was so shocked. That was the last thing we ever expected. We were just like bewildered. We were just, oh my gosh, there's no words still. And I looked over at Vince, and he just looked so uncomfortable and so just distraught, and trying, like, he was trying to keep everything cool, and it wasn't working. And he looked at the doctor and he said, is there a bathroom around here? And he kind of quickly went to the bathroom. And while he was in the bathroom, I remember I was laying on the table, and I kind of like, I was trying to breathe quietly. I was trying to act like I had it under control, like, oh, yeah, this is normal. Three, just finding out that, you're going to have 3 kids. Yeah, whatever. I'm cool. Like, I can handle it. And I look over and I said to the ultrasound tech, I said, we might as well right now. I want you to kind of make sure that there's only 3. We're going to find out now if there's more, and we're going to deal with it right now. So she kind of laughed a little bit, and she was like, no, we're pretty sure. We're very sure that there's 3 heartbeats. And I remember her kind of going, over each one, listening to each one. And that was surreal. The fact that there's 3, you go for so long thinking that you can't even have 1, and go to 3. Okay. So I lay there, and I still don't know what to say at this point. And I'm thinking, you know what? I should probably go and check on my husband who's in the bathroom. So I go, you know what? I'll be right back. So I get up and I walk over, and I kind of knock on the door, and I say, Vince, how's it going? And he, didn't really say much. And I said, can I come in? And he's like, yeah, and he was just he had a very like physical, emotional response. He was very like, he needed a moment. And I remember telling him, we gotta go back out there. Hate to tell you, we gotta go out and we gotta keep going. For some reason, I had strength there. But it's hard because I never talk about this. But I really admire him for kind of showing his like honest response. I feel like my first response was not what I wanted it to be. I feel like everybody's like really excited and really like, oh my gosh, 3, like this is insane. And I was kind of thinking like, oh my God, what are we going to do? Like, how are we going to do it? What's going to happen? But at the doctor appointment, I was not, I was keeping it cool. I was trying to pretend like I knew what I was doing, kind of like I said earlier. Yeah, so I was totally fine in this moment. But I remember feeling like how I feel now, really overwhelmed. Because, they never teach you this stuff. And how could you ever be prepared? How could you ever know what that feels like? I never thought that this would happen to me or to us. Never in a million years. All right. So we get Vince out of the bathroom, and he, we walk back in, and the nurse, she's super nice. And she gets us a bottle of water, and she's like, you know what? She goes, I don't even know what I would have did in that situation. She said it's very big news, to say the least. And I remember just, yeah, still didn't feel real. I was still like, yeah, okay, haha, And we met a doctor that actually had triplets himself, which was kind of like the best thing that could ever happen. And he walked in and he was like, wow. And we were just like, yeah, like, Vince and I are just like, oh my gosh, we can't even breathe. And it was pretty reassuring to, you know, hear him be like, yeah, I did it and we got through it and you're going to do it and you're going to get through it. And, it's like, cause you never hear about people having triplets. I mean, twins are like super, okay, yeah, you have twins. That seems pretty normal, even though it's not. But triplets is super, super rare. And our triplets are actually fraternal. So they all have separate sacs. So no one is identical. It wasn't an egg that split, which is actually, if you're going to have triplets, it's the safest, quote unquote, safest way to have triplets. That's what they tell you. There's still a lot of risk, but best case scenario for our situation. So we were relieved there, and I just remember, okay, I gotta get out of this room. We felt a little bit better talking to the doctor. You check out at the front desk and you're walking back, and we were just like not saying anything. I remember we were just like, oh my gosh, what in the heck? And I was holding the ultrasound with like the first ultrasound we ever have. And it still is like, what? What? I'm still like that. I don't think you ever get over it. I really don't. So what's funny is I was actually supposed to go back to work after this. This was in the morning. And I remember going in the car and I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to make it back to work today. There's no way. I mean, like I couldn't even see straight. I couldn't even, oh my gosh, everything was upside down for a second. We were just completely in awe. Like what? Whew. And I sat down and I just remember I just started crying and crying. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, what are we going to do? Like, how are we going to do this? What's going to happen? So overwhelmed and just so also like, what a blessing. You know what I mean? You get through all your worries. You go through your list, like, they're all going to drive at the same time. They're all going to go to college at the same time. They're all going to start dating at the same time. There are 3 of them. I mean, it's just like nuts. And you're just, your head just spins. I mean, for days and days and days. And you're just like, oh my gosh. But it's like, I wouldn't have it any other way. And finding that out was just the craziest time ever. And yeah, getting home, I remember we were just kind of in this daze and we would kind of look at each other at moments and we'd be like, how are you feeling? Like, are you okay right now? And it'd be like, someone's having an emotional breakdown. We just don't know. We're like, what are we going to do about car seats? And what are we going to do about, just like when they start picking on each other, and what are we going to do? I mean, just all these little minute things that, of course, run through your head because you just got the craziest news ever. And then calling the family, of course, is like crazy because everyone knows, oh my gosh, you had your first ultrasound today. Like, they want to know how it went, and just like calling every single family member, like, yeah, it went really well. And they're like, awesome. And it's like, and there's triplets and they're just like, no way. I mean, half our family didn't believe us. And we were just like, yeah, I'm still like, I don't know. Like, so it was just surreal, but everybody was so excited. I remember everybody had such different responses. I thought everybody would have the same kind of like, oh my gosh, this is nuts. But people were like, oh man, like some people were so happy they were like crying. And some people were like, just couldn't believe it and laughing and so excited. So it was such a cool thing to like be able to share this exciting news with the family. And yeah, it's still to this day takes my breath away. And talking about it now is so surreal too, because it's like, I feel like we we lived that moment, obviously, together. But for me, I think talking about it is also reliving it again. I know it's hard to explain, but like it takes a very long time to really wrap your head around it. And watching every single person we told that we were having triplets, their reactions were also very, very surreal and awesome. So we're just so thankful for friends and family in general. Everybody that helps, everybody that comes over and visits. It's kind of the best thing ever. But in that moment, it was like, it was just so surreal. Oh my gosh, it seems like so long ago because they're 9 months old right now and sleeping upstairs as we speak. I'm staring at the monitor, hoping they don't cry. But yeah, it's so surreal. And oh my gosh. And it feels like yesterday, and it also feels like a million years away too. But oh my gosh, anyone who's, pregnant with triplets right now, or they run in your family like us, don't be scared. You're going to be anxious, and it is so much fun. It is so stressful. It is so tiring, but it is so worth it. And I would have it no other way.
Now we're going to go with my perspective, and this is the father's perspective of when I first found out that my wife and I were having triplets. Mainly it's my wife was having the triplets. I didn't have any of the triplets inside of me. You think she would have shared, hey, how about you have one baby and, I have two, or maybe I take two. But no, she decided to have all the triplets in her body, and that's where we are now. So anyway, I guess we're gonna have to start with let's see, where do you want to start with this? Because I can kind of go any direction. But I guess I'll start with when my wife and I were dating. We always said, oh, how many kids would you like to have if you had, a magic wand, if you could actually just decide how many kids you want for sure, how many would you have? And I came from a family where I had 2 brothers and a sister, so a family of 4 kids. She just had a brother, 2 kids. We decided to do a compromise, and we wanted to have 3 kids. Not at the same time. We wanted them individually, but like I said, that's our magic wand. So when we got married, we actually we waited a little bit to have kids because the Zika virus stuff was going on, and when we were on our honeymoon, we were in an area that had a lot of Zika, so we didn't know if we had it or not. So we were a little worried about that. And then when we finally decided, like, yep, we really want to start like a family, it took a while. And it took about 1.5 years before my wife got pregnant. And finding out that she got pregnant was hands down the happiest day of my life. Like I didn't really understand how people could have tears of joy. I can understand like you're laughing so much that you're crying, but having like real joy that tears are going down. I had that moment when I found out my wife was pregnant. And it was awesome, and it was incredible. That's when I found out that I thought she was only pregnant with 1 baby. So when she found out she had 3 babies, it was one of the scariest times of my life, one of the most horrifying times of my life. But it was a different type of horrifying, because it was like, oh, this is great. Be careful what you wish for type of situation. Like you're getting more than what you asked for. Now you got to deal with it. So let's start off. My wife finds out she's pregnant. I'm overjoyed. We're telling the family. It's a great time. Eventually, she has to go to her first ultrasound. Okay? And when she goes to her first ultrasound, she's a little nervous. Doesn't know why. Me, I'm all hyped up. I'm excited. I'm going to be a father. I want to see what the baby's going to look like. I have no nervousness, no anxiety, nothing. super excited. And so we go and we're doing the ultrasound thing, and they're meeting with us, and we're filling out all the good stuff, and she lays on the little table thing, and the ultrasound tech does the whole jelly and the whole thing, and the screen pops up, and she's like, all right, let's begin. Now, when you look at the screen, it's just all just black and white. I can't figure out what's going on. I don't know what I'm seeing. So I'm just kind of standing there, just being hopeful. I didn't even know what to do. And so the tech lady, she's doing the thing. All right, no, let's look at the baby. And she looks and she goes, huh. And I go, what? You just said, huh? Huh? Like, what does that mean? Does that mean there's something wrong with the baby? What's going on with the baby? Are you not seeing a heartbeat? What's the situation? And she says, well, she's like, I'm double checking, but I see 3 heartbeats. Now, my wife, she kind of is like, I gasps, like, oh, my brain thinks, oh my gosh, my kid has 3 hearts. And then I realize, no, you idiot, there's 3 babies in there. And sure enough, she points at the screen, shows it to us, and there's 3 just little heartbeats that are just there. And this is a moment where you think, oh my gosh, you went from 1 kid to 3. You got to be the happiest guy in the world. My brain just started to flood with panic and anxiety. I was freaking out. There's this one old-timey picture online where it shows a guy finds out he has triplets and he's passed out and like the nurses are laughing at him. That's basically what I was starting to live with, because I'm sitting there and I'm going, wow, triplets, it's great. And I go from standing to just slowly sliding down and sitting in a seat. And I just got my hands over my head. And I'm like, wow, this is so great. There's three babies. And then I go, is there like a bathroom around here? I just think I gotta go to the bathroom. And so she goes, yeah, it's down the hall. So I get up and I just see black. Like, I see nothing. I didn't pass out yet, but I see nothing. I'm walking like I'm blind, just trying to figure out how to get to the bathroom. I get to the bathroom and I'm overheating, right? So I'm in the bathroom, close the door, lock it. I just start taking off my clothes. All right, I'm taking off my clothes. I am just 200 degrees. I'm freaking out. I'm using the toilet. We're gonna keep it G-rated, but I'm just panicking. My brain is I'm just shot, right? I am just terrified of what is going on. Meanwhile, my wife is laying there on the table still, and like a boss, I hear her go, you better make sure that there's only 3 babies in there, because if there's more, we're dealing with it right now. We're dealing with it right now. And so the lady's like, oh no, I'm going to double check, I'm going to check, and she goes, yep, there's just 3, right? Just 3. That's enough, right? Just 3. And so, so they go, yep, you're all set. So they clean her up, the whole thing. And they go, hey, I think you should go check on your husband. He looks kind of green. Like, I hear this from outside as I'm panicking. So my wife opens the door and she's like, hey, and I'm like, hey. And I'm naked at this point, by the way, too. I'm naked in the bathroom, panicking. And she gives me a cup of water. And she's like, hey, how you doing? I'm like, it's just a lot to process here. She's like, yeah. She's like, but you're going to have to like leave this room. I'm like, yeah, I know. She goes, and then all of a sudden I start, you know what? Yeah, this is going to be fine. This is going to be great. This is going to be fantastic. So I get up and, I'm going to leave. And she's like, you got to put on your clothes first. I'm like, got it. Got to put on my clothes. Got to make sure I put on my clothes. So I put on my clothes. We go there, and the tech or the nurse or whatever, she comes up and says, hey, we actually have a doctor on staff who had triplets of his own. Would you like to meet him? And we said, sure. So we go to, this guy comes in and he's just like, first off, whoa. Like, this is just, He's like, it's like 1 in 100,000%. It's like something crazy. You know, he's like, I did the math. It's pretty much impossible. You guys are the impossible. I'm like, I'm glad I feel special right now. And he's like, but it's gonna be great. And I'm like, you're a doctor. I'm not a doctor, so I don't. Yeah. So I'm still like whatever. But he was a great guy, great doctor, fantastic. He started to make us kind of feel better. Really, really, really good guy. And so we're leaving. And I look at my wife and I'm like, I just tell her, I'm like, I start calming down now because I'm seeing like she's confident. I'm like, she's confident and she's the one with the babies inside her, not me. So I'm looking at her, I'm like, you were so awesome in there. You were so great. I feel so ashamed that I was panicking in there, when you're so strong and I'm so great. I'm sorry, you're so great. And then she breaks down and she's breaking down. And that whole day, we're just taking turns of like, I got some strength and she's broken down. So I, comfort her. And then she gets some strength and I break down and she starts comforting me. And it's just this back and forth process. But the amazing part, I think the part that's different than just being typically terrified or nervous or anxious it was crazy how I already loved the kids. It was something, and I told her this, I said, I go, it's crazy because I already love them. Like, they're already destroying my life, and I already love them. You know what I mean? Like, they just, like, I now have my purpose has grown. I'm now more excited, but at the same time terrified because I want what's best for these kids, and I'm trying to figure it out. That's what my brain's trying to do. My brain isn't trying to figure out how to escape, like a fight or flight, or on the flight side. It's more on the fight side where I'm trying to think of, okay, how am I going to make sure that these kids, like, all, even though they're going to share the same birthday, how do they feel like they're special? How am I going to be able to give them a life as good, if not better, than the life that I got when I was growing up? All these things go through my mind because I'm already caring about them, and I just like met them in a way through this ultrasound. And so that's something that's, I think, important to kind of talk about, all jokes aside, making fun of my anxiety, making fun of my my craziness was like, it's just getting this idea that I already wanted what was best for them, and I was just trying to figure it out. And you're not going to be able to figure it out all in a day. So any of you who found out that you're having triplets, or someone that has triplets, like, that's what's kind of going through their mind. They're trying to figure out, how are we going to do this? Meaning they want to do this. They just don't know how to do it yet. And that's the scary part. That's the part that people forget about. And the doctor said that, they might not all make it for the pregnancy. They might not. And my view of it always was like, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be, because, if we didn't have ultrasounds, then we wouldn't have even known, right? If only one made it or two. But I was like, it was meant to be, it's meant to be. And all three of them were born, very healthy. We were, beautiful, gorgeous. They're doing great now. And we'll talk more about that through other podcast episodes. But also gave me perspective, because then when we started to tell family about the fact that we were having triplets, my mother-in-law informed me that on my wife's side, her grandfather had siblings that were triplets, and her great-grandfather was a twin. Would have been great information to know, but there's not much you can do with it even if I have that information. And, but it kind of gave us perspective, because this wasn't like an in vitro situation where we kind of knew, like, there's a chance we could have multiples or anything like that. But it also, at the same time, it gives me perspective. It's like these triplets were born in the 20s. Okay. And they all lived. Two of them, I think are still alive right now. I'm not sure. I think they're in their like 90s or something, or they're 100. I don't really know. But it just gave me perspective on, these guys, they didn't have all the advanced medical science that we have today, and they still made it. So if they can make it, maybe we can make it too. You know, they didn't have Beaumont Hospital, right? They just had Bo across the street just come over and just kind of help out. There was no like real doctor, no surgery rooms. She had them in the house. She didn't even know she was having triplets. Okay. We at least have like a 9, 6, 7 month, whatever heads up. She didn't even have that. And so, that started to get my perspective, and it started to make me think more about triplets and kind of delving into that world, which got my wife and I more into other parents that have triplets on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and all that. And it really helped us. And so I hope that our stories and our perspectives and our things will help the next group of couples who have triplets, or those who are having triplets right now, or those who just want to learn about the perspective of parents who have triplets. And that is the father's version, my version of when we found out that we were having triplets. All right, and we're back.
Hey.
We're back. So now you've heard her side of the story.
Yep.
And then you heard my side of the story. One was clearly much more emotional.
I didn't mean it to go there.
I was talking about mine. I thought mine was more emotional.
Obviously, yeah.
And heartfelt, which is weird. I guess it's not weird, but it's just like for me that day in particular when I found out that we were having triplets, I feel like more emotionally wearing my emotions on my sleeve, more freaking out, panicked, and you were kind of calm as a cucumber.
I really wasn't.
But
I think it showed in my video. I was like, I think publicly I didn't want to make a fool of myself. Like, why do I care? I don't know anybody. But I was like, oh, I gotta keep it together. Like,
see, I had no problem.
I'm supposed to be cool. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm supposed to now I'm a triplet mom. Like, I gotta. I can't afford.
You were already in the zone.
I can't afford to look like a fool. Like,
yeah, I had no problem look like a fool.
Because I should have been on the floor like vomiting, rolling around. I don't know. Because who the heck stays there? I seriously I've never been that calm. I think ever.
Yeah, isn't that weird? Like it's almost. Do you think maybe it was instinctual? Like it was like an instinct of like,
let's say
like boom, like you were instantly mama bear mode where you're like, all right, I gotta be calm. Whereas me, I was like the bear that just leaves and
in the bathroom,
and goes to the bathroom and strips naked and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, maybe. I mean, the motherly instinct thing. I feel like there's like two sides to that story. Like, oh, it's not real, or it is. Like, I totally think it's real. I think as soon as even dads, I think when you're a parent, like. You got it. you don't learn it. It's not anything. It's just it's now who you are. And there's no change. It's not like it takes a couple days to kick in, or, when they're born, it's like, no, now I'm a parent from the start of the first ultrasound, first time with a pregnancy test. You're a parent. I mean, you feel it then. I did, at least. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I did too.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I was trying to say towards the end of mine, where I was trying to talk about how you have to like when you're freaking out, but you're freaking out because you're trying to think about what's the best I can do for my kids. So you're already in that parent mode.
Right.
You're just trying to figure out how to be a parent, which is scary, rather than being afraid of like, oh, I got a kid. It's more of like, how can I best make this kid's life?
Yeah,
great?
Because it's
Kids,
not even an option
triplets.
in your brain. Triplets. You're like, and not even twins. It's just, you know what I mean? Like, who thinks about? I don't even think about that. And I didn't even know it ran in my family until I told my mom. I mean, I had no idea, and that sounds horrible, but like, she was so calm about it that I'm like, oh, wait, like. And then I didn't even think like, oh yeah, if it runs in your family, it could happen to you. Like, I don't know. It's just like nothing made sense for a very long time.
Yeah, well, because she used to joke about like, oh, you guys might have twins. Oh, you could have twins. And everyone there's a lot of people that kind of joke about having twins. You know? And I'm like, okay, da. And in a way, the more you joke about it, the more your brain is kind of like, yeah, there's two of you, so you can handle two. It's if you had two, big deal. You just got two now. When you got three babies,
Yeah.
that's when your brain, at least mine, kind of shut down because I was like, there's too many baby per
The
adult.
math doesn't make sense.
There's not enough adults for
You're
babies.
like one mom plus one dad and 3 babies
All at the same
equals question mark.
Yeah, it just doesn't.
I still say that in my head because I'm just like, how would anybody? People did it, like you said. People did it in the 20s. People did it since the beginning of time. I mean, it's not.
Yeah.
It's just overwhelming, even in the 20s. I bet, especially when you didn't even know. I can't even imagine.
One thing I appreciated from yours was how you mentioned that you were actually glad that I was able to like show how I felt. In some sense.
For sure. Yeah.
Because at least as a father, you feel like you have to be like, you can't show any emotion, you can't show fear, you can't, you gotta be just cool, calm, and collected. And I just wasn't that day.
Oh,
but
no.
you were kind of the cool, calm, collected one. And then later on, once you were home, then it kind of started to kick in. But then I was getting a little better, and then it was kind of vice versa.
I think when I saw you and I saw, you had that like literally instant emotional reaction, I went into like, I have to be, you know what I mean? Like, I have to be the supportive one right now. Like we were talking about when we came home and we were like, oh my God, are you okay? Like, we did that for, and like, that's no joke. It'd be like in the middle of the night, we'd like roll over and be like, are you okay right now? Like, and I'd be like, I guess, like, I think I'm okay.
No,
and then
I feel like every time we'd just be like, no.
I mean, but like what? I mean, we didn't even know. Anyways, but I honestly, like, I'm a older sibling, so I think I went into that like, you need my help right now mode where I wasn't even thinking about the fact that I had 3 babies. I was just like, oh my God, my husband's in the bathroom naked crying about something. I need to help him.
Which I'm glad you didn't mention that.
No, I was like, is he
going
going to go that far? We're going to wait and see. I'll let him. And if he wants, I'm going to let him,
Yeah, because I was like, because after I listened to yours, I was like, oh wait, she didn't mention that. I didn't have to mention that. I could just mention that like I went to the bathroom and just like had a nice.
I was keeping it pretty normal, and you kind of pushed it over the head.
I tweaked it to 11 a little bit.
Oh yeah, it was at 20. Yeah,
just a little bit. But I wanted to be real for our audience.
Yes.
I wanted people to know the real naked truth that was my panic attacks.
What's that show? Naked and Afraid.
Yes.
I think it was that.
Yes.
They
need to have triplet edition.
The bonus episode.
They don't even go out in the woods. They're just naked and afraid. So I guess my thing is, based off of both of our perspectives, what is some advice you would give to somebody who just found out they're having triplets? Or they know someone that's just having triplets. So I guess that might be 2 different answers.
Yeah, I think, well, let's see, advice. So you can't really tell advice because everybody kind of handles it different, but it's almost like don't go on the internet for 24 hours a day, maybe go like 23 hours a day. Like, because you can't like tell someone to not do that because everybody does. I don't care who you are. You're going to go on the internet, but that really screwed me up because you see all these different people and I feel like they almost highlight on the negative. I don't know if you encountered that, but I was like all over the internet and just it never highlighted the beauty of having triplets. It's the fear. It's, oh my gosh, this happened to the triplets, or look at my body after triplets, or my life is chaos with triplets. It never, and I understand that, yeah, it is, but they don't focus on like the positives, the fact that there's 3 babies born literally minutes apart from each other. You're focusing on all this like the stuff that doesn't even relate to you or anything, and like everybody's body's different, everybody's babies are different, everybody has their own situation, and I think it's just making sure that you have that strong relationship with your partner. I think that's probably good advice. Making sure that you can like we were doing, like talk to each other and like, are you okay? Like what's going on? Like with everything that you're feeling, everything, I think we should do this. I think we should do that. Or go to all the ultrasound appointments, go to everything you can. Like I I loved meeting other triplet parents on Instagram, different moms and stuff, because that actually made it feel real to me, not just like Googling things. I started the Persichetti Triplets Instagram, and that day I feel like I was just like, all these triplet moms, like, welcome to Instagram. Oh my gosh, we're so excited like for you to have triplets and everything. And it was just really reassuring to know that there's actually other triplet parents that exist that aren't just Google images, you know? Because I feel like I was looking at all these moms and they had like, looked like they swallowed a watermelon or like 4 watermelons. And I was just like, oh my God. You know, and you're focusing on all that and that has nothing to do with it. You know, it's such an amazing, you know, thing. And there's so much fear. So I think I would focus on, you know, as much as you can. Because I'm not at all going to say you're not going to be scared. But do get excited because it's so awesome. It's so much fun. It's crazy awesome. It's kind of, that would be my best advice I could give.
Yeah, I think, see, it was a little interesting though, because sometimes, I'm just going to play the little devil's advocate a little bit here. Sometimes it was kind of nice to see some of the challenges that a lot of the triplet moms
Oh yeah,
had.
no, for sure. But like
It gave me
sometimes
confidence of like, okay, you know, these are some things that may happen, but it's okay. Like they live to tell the tale. It's not like a doom and gloom. It's more of like these are some obstacles that may come your way, but you can succeed in them. It's possible. So I thought that was kind of good. But yeah, I think if you go on the internet for anything medical,
it's going to be bad.
Long, it can be horrible.
I mean, it's going to be bad.
Yeah.
We know this.
Yeah, so
Internet 101. Like,
yeah, so I totally understand that. Yeah, I think also too, I think one thing I learned was don't expect to have a certain emotion for a certain thing. Like I thought that, you know, if that something like that would happen, maybe I would be a little bit more cool and calm. Maybe I'd have that tears of joy again and be like, oh my gosh, just when I thought I could have 1, I got 3.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some YouTube videos of guys that find out that they're having triplets and they're like ecstatic. They're like so excited.
Right.
They're so pumped, you know, and they're just like, this is the best. Oh, this is great. And like the wife is a little worried. He's like, why are you worried? This is amazing. We're having 3 babies. And I remember watching those thinking like, man, I wish I had that emotion. Don't think like that. Whatever emotion you have, that's an emotion.
Yeah,
it's gonna
that's
come
you.
and go. Eventually, you know, you're gonna push through that, and that's when you kind of decide, okay, what am I gonna do? How am I gonna do it?
we're here.
And that's the important thing. We're here,
I mean,
and that's one of the reasons why we're doing this. I
Yeah,
feel like
exactly.
We're doing this to help other people because there were other triplet families and parents and things that had this kind of similar. I haven't seen one about a podcast yet, so I was like,
this is kind of exciting for me.
we got a need. We found a niche.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that alone was kind of motivating for us.
Right.
So we hope that we can do that with you.
Yeah.
Is there anything else? Anything you can think of? Any closing remarks you'd like to have regarding when we found out that we were having triplets?
Well, I just want to say with your individual, I was appreciative at how funny you made it. I feel like mine was very emotional. I apologize. I feel like I haven't talked about things that aren't baby bum or, you know, diaper related in a while. So that's my mom brain, I think, kicking in. But you know what? I'm not mad about it.
Yeah.
Because
you
that was
shouldn't be
my,
bad.
and you know what? That was my go to the bathroom, take all my clothes off moment right then.
Possibly.
I don't know. But
yeah,
I didn't
possibly.
expect to go there. So this podcast is getting real for me already.
Yeah,
Episode 1.
Yeah, episode 1, you got real. Me now, like for some of you, for some of the audience might not know. I also do stand-up comedy for fun. I haven't really done it too professionally yet, but I do stand-up comedy for fun. So I've kind of talked about this in previous stand-up activities. So I like to make it kind of light and funny. And when it comes to stressful situations like that, I like to look back at them and laugh. I mean,
You have to.
And I think, I guess my advice to add in is there's going to be times where if you think right now like it's the end of the world because you found out you have triplets or you're having triplets and you just don't know what to do, one day you're going to look at that and you're going to laugh and you're going to make jokes about it and you're going to make fun of yourself. Like, look at, I was panicking. What an idiot, or I couldn't believe I thought that was such a big deal. Because that's just how life goes.
Yeah.
And, you just got to learn to laugh at it, learn to joke at it. But I'm glad that you got real and you were your true self. I think that's what we're going to need. That's the perspective one. If you had the exact same perspective as me, this show would be super, super boring.
True.
So
very true.
I think on that, I think we're all set.
I think we're done.
So
Episode 1.
Episode 1
In the
complete.
books. Yes.
All right.
See you guys.
See ya.
Bye.